There's a lot that I appreciate about my mom. I would say she has given me a godly example of what a good wife looks like, what a godly mother looks like, what a godly grandmother looks like, what a godly great-grandmother looks like, and what an enduring friendship she has with all of the people that she ministers to has just been a real blessing for me to see. She's very open to being hospitable. There's been many times when she has invited people into our home growing up. We would always have missionaries coming in. We would have them for dinner. We would have them spend the night, which would make us kids kind of move out of our rooms, but it was all okay. She had open houses like every Christmas Eve for a really long time. And she continues to show hospitality to people by taking meals to friends. She calls people. She hasn't retired from having the gift of hospitality. And I think that that is just a story that has been part of her life forever.
Well, a lot of people make jokes about mother-in-laws in our country, but not me. I have lots of good things to say. She is a wonderful example of love and generosity and hospitality, as Susie's already mentioned. About a year before we were married, I was living in an apartment in St. Petersburg, and Hurricane Elena started coming this way, and they evacuated my apartment complex. So I called up Susie, and her parents willingly brought me in, had a spare bedroom, and let me stay there during the hurricane. Even though it didn't actually come all the way here, thankfully it turned away, but they were willing to take care of me, and she's cooked more meals for me than just about anybody except Susie and my mom probably. So just real generous.
Well, when my dad was alive, we used to have big Christmas Eve things and invite everybody over. And now we just have family Christmas Eve, which is fine with me. I enjoyed that too.
Well, she's a sweet lady, and she's a good Christian lady, and you couldn't ask for a better one, you know what I mean? Mother-in-law. There's a lot of memories, you know. Like after church on Sundays, we'd have dinner and stuff. Yeah, yeah, the good food and stuff. That's good memories, you know.
No one can objectively or scientifically say, I have the best mom in the world, because you'd have to know all the mothers in the world to be able to say that. But what I can say is I have the best mom in the world. She has been a great example to me and to my family, to my kids. She's been a great grandmother. She was a great mother-in-law for Beth. And I just really feel that God's grace in my life was manifested well before my salvation, in that He let me be born into the family I was born in. So I love my mom, and she's been a loving and caring mother and a great example for all of us.
She was the third child in our family of 6 kids. She was definitely a tomboy. In the 1940s, we had plenty of snow, cold weather, and ice skating. We would hike at night into the woods to skate on a pond way over in the neighbor's property. They were the good old days. We called them the good old days, and they really were.
I've always admired Leah, even when I was little. She was my big sister. I would tag along with her and my cousin Rose, and they would call me a tag along, but Leah was so good with kids. I know Jake and Jim especially related to her and loved her, and I can remember Jim saying, "Iya, Iya." So, and they had a good relationship. My daughter Lynn, I asked her, she's in Kentucky, and I asked her what she remembered about Aunt Leah, and she said, well, I don't really remember it, but the day that I was born, she came in to see me and then they left and went to Florida. So she said, I've never gotten over it. So, but she said too that she just remembers her sense of humor and how kind she is and how sweet. So, and she loved going to Florida and visiting and seeing her there.
She was up here for a visit, and we had a very early snowstorm in September. And it was the day she was leaving to go back. And we took her to the airport, and when we got home, we had talked to her, we called her and talked to her, and found out that her flight was canceled, and the next one out wouldn't be for another 4 hours. So I asked if she wanted me to come pick her up and bring her home, and she said, absolutely not. She said, I'm in this airport, and my next stop is going to be Florida. So there were some of the things I would remember about her.
I think I learned to walk in Florida at her house. I know I learned how to swim in Florida in her house. And I have a lot of great memories of being there, even though it was only once, with my nieces and nephew and sister. And I know my son Stanley really loves to come down and visit with Aunt Leah, and she always makes sure that she has her ice cream stocked up, and she goes out and buys special Pop-Tarts for him and stuff like that. And he loves, even now as a young adult, going down to visit Aunt Leah and going yard sailing with her. And we just love her so much, and we're very grateful that she's part of our family.
Memories about her and Uncle John are coming home on furlough and Uncle John doing barbecued chicken. And we swam in the pool until we couldn't. We turned to prunes, basically, down there in Clearwater. So that was always a fun memory, too, of their house down in Florida. She's just always upbeat and really positive. So that's one thing I really appreciate about Aunt Leah.
She's a sweetheart. She really is. Except in the winter when she used to call or I'd call her and say, it's snowing outside. And she'd say, oh, it's 72. I'm sitting on the lanai with my coffee. I have all the windows open. It's a gorgeous day. And we're freezing up here. But that was Leah. She and John used to tease us off about, well, come on down, come on down.
If I don't call her every week, she'd call me at least once a week, and I'd call her probably most of the time once a week, or if she didn't call me, or maybe a little bit longer once in a while. But I talked to her more than I talked to the ones that live around here. Yeah, and the thing about my sister Leah is, when you talk to her on the phone, you just listen, you don't talk. She never lets you get a word in half the time, even quarter sideways, let alone straight forward. But we love her anyhow. Yes, she's a great lady. I can't believe she'll be 102 this year. I didn't think she was that old, but whatever. The old grandmare ain't what she used to be. I sang that to her one time on her birthday. Was that her 80th birthday? Yeah, I think it was her 80th birthday. She wasn't home, and she didn't answer, but the answering machine. So that was my birthday song. The old grandmare ain't what she used to be. She said, well, she saved it. I don't know whether she still has it or not. I doubt it, but yeah, that was Leah.
Anytime we would go visit her in Florida, I just remember my mom, and she would just sob every time we had to leave. And they would also burst into song randomly, just for various reasons and no reason at all most of the time. Lots of singing. I think the thing I admire most is just how every time she walks into the room, she just brings so much joy with her.
I can hear her laugh all the time. Whenever I think about Aunt Leah, I hear her laughing because she has such a good sense of humor.
Just last year, she spent time here with me. We had a week together, and I don't think we ever giggled and laughed so much. I thought she was going to roll off the sofa, and it was over something so silly as something that we had found on Facebook about the wonky donkey, because we do have the donkey across the street. We still laugh about that, and I miss her terribly.
Good memories, very good memories. I remember visiting in Florida for the first time. I came down after I graduated from high school, and it was a foreign territory to me, but it was fun. And I spent the whole summer there. She's a very good woman, taught me a lot. She was perfect for my brother. They complemented each other very well. And I love her to death.
She's been a great help to me in a lot of bad times, and she has always had an answer that I needed. So I think that's pretty important. There were times when I needed some kind of a push, and she gave it to me. So I admire that. I mean, I wish I had all those abilities. I know that my brother thought the first time he ever met her, that was going to be his wife. She was going to be his wife. It was just a good match. It was match made in heaven, I think. When my husband died very suddenly, they were right here, and that was very important to me. So it was so unexpected. It was just, sometimes today it's still unreal. But they were here, and it was a great support. And I was, you know, we were brought up Catholic, and it was not, this was quite a change. It was very hard for me to understand what was going on. I'm still struggling with some things, but, you know I can go to her if I need something, and that's about it.
Whenever I visit Grandmom, I always try to visit the church with her. She really loves going to her church, and she loves volunteering there, going to events that take place during the week that aren't just during Sunday. And I really like going with her when I'm able to. You can tell in her life that she really loves God and she really loves other people.
Oh, she's wonderful. Person, wonderful Christian friend. She always calls people and see how they're doing, or call and make sure they know about certain things going on.
Well, we met at another church, Bible Fellowship Church. So I've known her way back then. So it's probably been around 30 years. She's been a blessing.
Leah Hause is amazing. She's always there for people. She's always bright. She's always cheerful. And she and Tom banter back and forth, and he loves that. And her prayers are coveted, and what she does for all of us is really wonderful. She's a really wonderful, loving, caring lady, and we love her.
Well, it's been such a joy to have Leah, getting to know her, having a presence. She embodies Jesus in so many different ways, I know, to me or to really our whole congregation, through faithful prayer and just joy and endurance. She's just a lovely, lovely woman of God that I love so dearly.
What I appreciate most about my mom is that we were always welcome to come over any time of the day to play games, watch TV, and do basically anything we wanted to with her. And it's always going to be one of the fondest memories that I have.
So Grandmom is fond of saying that she has a revolving door at her house in Clearwater, and there's a really good reason that it is that kind of revolving door situation, because I think once people go to Grandmom's house and she welcomes them in and makes them feel like they're really at home for the time that they're there. They want to come back. So it is a revolving door. There's always people coming and going, but it's a lot of the same people coming back after they've been there once before. And every time you go back to her house, you really feel like you're being welcomed home, even if it's not where you usually live, because that's just the kind of place she makes it be. She really makes people feel welcome. She makes people feel wanted. And that's just one of many things that I really love about her.
I appreciate a lot of things about my mom. Her love for her family and her love for the Lord are two things that stand out in my mind. When I think about her, she's always willing to serve us and show us love. I've been super blessed to have her so close growing up and just be able to spend so much time over there through my childhood years, and now I can go over and visit her whenever I want. But a couple things that I remember is riding some roller coasters with her. Even when she was much older, we rode some roller coasters at Hershey Park, and then also at SeaWorld, which were a lot of fun. And I didn't know if she would do it, but she did it, and we had a great time.
I just always think of like a goofy moment with her was when we were in Bolivia and we were riding the bus system that they have there. And she got so excited because the bus in front of us, she thought said adios on the back, and she thought it was the cutest thing ever. And we had to tell her that it said Adidas and was a shoe advertisement and not adios, but she still loved that, so.
There's just a lot of things that people usually talk about, just sort of, I guess, stereotypically about grandmothers. Like, whenever you go to their house, you're always going to be well fed, and they're going to give you like some money and stuff like that. And like, yeah, grandmom was always that way with us, always leaving us making sure that we were, fed well with the family dinners and everything, and just always concerned to check up on us and make sure that everything's going well. And I've always just enjoyed all the times with her, watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune at 7 p.m. every night. So, I mean, yeah, just everything.
I appreciate all the fun and loving times we had together, like some of the small things like watching Wheel of Fortune and playing in the pool. And more than that, some of the bigger values that she showed, like having the family dinners on Sundays and holidays, and just all of the loving family times that she created is a great example for me.
I definitely remember going up to Pennsylvania all the time and catching fireflies while camping in the RV, and it's one of my favorite memories. Just taking trips on that with her and Pop-Up and going off on all these little adventures all the time.
I love Gigi.